Good morning, and welcome to episode 199 of Getting Rich. I'm your host, Rich Checkan, president of Asset Strategies International, and today is Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. Well, the election results are in, and the winner is gold and silver. More on that in a little bit. First, let's look at the actual presidential election and the race for Senate and House representatives, etc. It looks like there is going to be a clean sweep for Republicans here. The presidential vote projected, not official right now, is 277 electoral votes for former President Trump and 224 electoral votes for Vice President Harris. President Trump went ahead and made a victory speech after winning Pennsylvania at about 2:30 in the morning, but as I understand it at this recording, nothing is decided yet. It looks like the Republicans have won the Senate, 51 to 42 currently. The House of Representatives may take days or weeks to decide as we look for 218 for the controlling interest in the House. Right now it's 197 to 179 for the Republicans, and Republican governors look like they had a clear win, 27 to 23. So those results will continue to trickle in. I don't know when and if the contest will be called, but it looks like it's leaning toward a Republican slant. Had a question last week from a good friend, Senator Bulworth, wrote in saying, would you please explain the concepts of hypothecation and rehypothecation and its applicability/utility to the precious metals environment and where this is practiced? Is it a useful tool? Are there laws that require disclosure if this practice is being employed? So appreciate the question. Thank you, Senator Bulworth. I will tell you that hypothecation is basically taking a loan against collateral like precious metals. So that's how it's applicable to the precious metals. If you want to go ahead and use your precious metals to take a loan against them, you're hypothecating those precious metals. Rehypothecation is when you store your metals with a third party, and they give you some sort of a break on storage or maybe even a slight return for your money in order to lend that metal out to other individuals or entities. That is called rehypothecation, and sometimes that can be done to multiple folks. So this is metal you own outright, but then you are lending it to others. Is the practice useful? In some cases, yes. Bottom line, consider a jeweler who wants to go ahead and start making rings, bracelets, necklaces, jewelry for the holiday season. They go ahead and they borrow metal ahead of time that other people own. They start making it into rings, bracelets, etc. Eventually, they have to give it back, right? And in the meantime, they pay a rental fee or they lease it or what have you to go ahead and make up things ahead of time. So they're using you to build an inventory that they can hopefully sell and replace metal later. So that's how that rehypothecation works. Sometimes it can backfire you. Check out the MF Global incident that happened years ago that was a major hit to markets. So yes, it can be a problem. I don't know for sure if different states or federally you're required to notify people if that's the case. I think you should. I think it's the right ethical and moral thing to do. So let's go ahead and move on to the numbers. From last week, we are down on all the precious metals. Gold today sits at $2,721.10 an ounce. That's down 2.2% from last week at $2,783.30. Silver's down 5.9% to $32.24. It was $34.27 last week. Platinum's down 4.2% to $998 an ounce. It was $1,042 an ounce last week. Palladium down 10.3% to $1,080 an ounce. It was $1,204 last week. With gold falling less than silver. It's going to take more ounces this week of silver to buy an ounce of gold, so your gold-silver ratio stands at 84.4. It was 81.22 last week, and the dollar showing a little bit of strength here this morning, almost to 105. It's at 104.92 on the index. It was 104.16 last week. So I said the winner is gold and silver, and I'll add anybody who owns it. Let's face it. The two candidates in the presidential election have different policies and beliefs, but one thing they're both in agreement on is that they're not touching unfunded liabilities, and the Congress and the Senate, whether it be from the Democrats or from the Republicans, has no will to balance a budget. And as a result, we are going to see continued deficit spending. We are going to see, therefore, a continued expansion of the money supply, by definition, inflation, and that will lead to higher prices of everything that matters, to include gold and silver. So make sure you have it in your portfolio. I'm telling you, we are just getting started. I want to go ahead and remind everybody that we got a fantastic webinar here this evening. We'll be discussing the implications of the results of the presidential, Senate, and House races and what that might mean to your pocketbook. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Adrian Day and I will be welcoming Dan Denning of Barner Private Research. If you have not signed up, please go ahead and do so immediately. This is going to be a fantastic webinar. Dan is absolutely the right person to have the day after a presidential election. And then one other side note, just want to let everybody know, next week will be a historic episode of Getting Rich. It's our 200th episode. You absolutely want to tie in or tune in. We are going to have a contest. You have to be there to see what it is and to involve yourself, but there's a chance to win some prizes. So tune in next week for sure. As always, we want you to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Send us your comments and questions so we can go ahead and answer them. Like us, of course. Follow us on social media. Take our twice weekly, always something interesting alerts, and our once monthly information line newsletter, which comes out tomorrow. But in the end, don't ever forget, getting rich starts with keeping what's yours.